What if all of the information you have ever heard about Drake's success was based on skillfully constructed delusions? What if, for years, the truth behind his ascent to prominence was more sinister and cunning than anyone had ever thought? Fans have hailed Drake as the king of rap, but what if we told you that there is more to him and the industry than meets the eye? This is the first time that a prominent player in hip-hop is revealing the truth, and revealing that Drake may not be the artist we believed him to be. This isn't your typical rap feud. It tells the tale of quiet and power domination. Stay tuned to learn what Pusha T has been trying to tell us all along as we delve into the true story behind the scenes. Pusha T is a maestro of the industry, and his approach goes beyond simply creating amazing songs. His brother Malise and he have been advancing their professions with an accuracy that many in the game don't notice. However, this most recent album release was a masterclass in exposing the inner workings of the music industry, not simply the music. With this most recent album, Pusha T has chose to reveal the politics and corruption that lurk just beyond the surface, continuing his tradition of records with deeper meaning. The release of the CD was meticulously planned. Everything, including the press releases and interviews, was created to offer fans a better understanding of Push's life and the challenges he has faced over the course of his career. In one candid interview, Push detailed how his albums were shelved or postponed for years. Even though he had hit songs ready to go, he was fighting more than simply the competition. The label and those in charge of his career were his true enemies. When he revealed the real reasons his partnerships with well-known artists were blocked, it was the biggest bombshell. Among those musicians is Kendrick Lamar. However, it was about an industry that lives on deceit and secrecy, not simply the record or the performers. The very individuals who were meant to be supporting Push for years suppressed his songs. His message is that artists need to regain power since the system is flawed. The launch was a battle cry as much as a marketing tactic. Everyone is aware of the notorious feud between Drake and however, you were unaware of the extent to which Drake allegedly went manage the conversation and safeguard his own reputation. Diss tracks weren't the only place the beef continued. It delved deeply into the music industry's power dynamics, with Drake reportedly abusing his position to thwart Push's ascent. According to Pusha T, Drake spent years working behind the scenes to keep him from making any progress. Push claims that it went beyond simply preventing him from writing songs that specifically disparaged Drake. No, Drake's impact was more widespread. According to Push, Drake had a plan in place to prohibit him from working with other musicians, which kept him from releasing important songs that would have advanced his career. The label, which was greatly impacted by Drake's team, allegedly served as a gatekeeper, removing features, preventing albums from being released, and even changing lyrics to ensure that nothing that would damage Drake's reputation was released. This degree of control wasn't a coincidental event. Drake was systematically working to maintain his position at the top at all costs, and the public was unaware of how much of his achievement was planned behind closed doors. How much of the Drake phenomenon is genuine and how much is merely a well-staged picture is the question. Drake's influence extended beyond his personal feuds. It was about controlling the entire industry with the label. Pusha T's career was ruined by a business that catered to Drake's every whim, not just by competition. Push has disclosed how Drake's influence caused the company to forbid partnerships with some of the top hip-hop artists, such as Kendrick Lamar. However, why did Push's exploding collaborations with Kendrick abruptly come to an end on a single word about a trump card in one of their songs? However, was that indeed the problem, or was it merely a pretext to keep the song from being released? In actuality, the label's choice to remove these features was part of a bigger attempt to silence Pusha T's voice in the business, not just one song. The label has the authority to decide what music was released, and the playing field isn't level when someone like Drake is influencing these choices. According to Push, The label was in charge of the whole plot, determining who would succeed and who would fail, in addition to controlling the music. Let's now take a closer look at the conjecture that goes on behind the scenes. The plot of Pusha's story is complex, and although we don't know everything, the image begins to take shape. The trump card debate is among this story's most fascinating elements. Consider this. Was Pusha's song with Kendrick actually blocked for that reason? Or was it merely a front for something darker and more significant? A well-known personality in the rap industry, Kendrick Lamar, worked with Pusha T, who had been openly involved in exposing Drake. The label probably viewed the partnership as a danger, since they were worried that it would damage Drake's meticulously manicured image. This was about dominating the industry and upholding the notion that Drake was untouchable, not just about one song. The central theme of this narrative is Drake's fixation with managing his image. Drake is well known for being in the spotlight all the time and appearing polished and on top of his game. But what happens when that facade falters and the audience begins to witness the unpleasant reality behind the scenes? Drake has based his whole career on upholding this meticulously constructed persona. Drake is also prepared to do all it takes to safeguard it, as Pusha T has demonstrated. Pusha T disclosed the existence of a group of business people he refers to as the Drake Committee, who operate covertly to safeguard Drake's reputation. This group is said to have influence over not only the music published, but also the story of who gets to be successful in the business. Drake's influence extends far beyond his songs. The goal is to steer the narrative, control the story, and hold anyone who challenges Drake's authority accountable. However, it is clearly evident from Pusha's disclosures that Drake's reputation is not as untouchable as he would like to believe. Pusha eventually made the audacious choice to leave the label that had silenced them for years, that had long held him back. But this wasn't merely a professional decision. Push made the declaration, "I'm done playing by the rules of a broken system." Leaving the label on Push wasn't only releasing himself from the industry's restrictions. He was bringing to light the dishonest structures that held him back. His exit marks a turning point in his career, and will other artists who are beginning to understand that the system isn't designed for them, but rather to maintain the status quo. Hip-hop also undergoes a sea change with Push's departure. Playing the game is no longer the goal. Instead, the rules must be revised. Pusha's exit is a daring declaration that sends a message to the whole business. Pusha's departure is only the beginning as artists realize they take charge of their careers and that the days of silence and manipulation are over. What implications does all of this have for hip-hop's future? The sector is evolving. The struggle that has been going on for years behind the scenes is exemplified by Pusha's narrative. The struggle for dominance, story manipulation, and label power have all been made public. Now the question is whether this will cause the industry to change or return to its previous state. As artists continue to recognize their own power, we might witness a new era in hip-hop where artists are free to express themselves without worrying about censorship or repression, free from the influence of labels and committees. The story of the music industry and Pusha T's is far from over. Although the future is unclear, one thing is guaranteed: there will be change soon. Do you believe Drake is actually manipulating things behind the scenes, or is just an instance of rivalries gone wrong? Please share your opinions in the comments section below. For more in-depth explorations of the stories that the music industry doesn't want you to hear, don't forget to hit the notification bell, like, and subscribe. Thank you for viewing.